Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of TJ Hates Quitters over here on Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent, especially tonight, because if you want to be angry, you have found 3 people who are here to be angry with you. We are ready to rage out about the season finale of the Challenge USA. I'm joined by my co-host Katie, and Tito, you were our first guest this season, right? You did episode 1 with us?
I was. Yeah, look at me bookending it.
You're like the bread of our challenge sandwich here.
There we go.
We got Tito back.
We had a wonderful...
Tito messaged me.
We had a
and
wonderful...
right after... Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
Tito.
go ahead.
I've cut you off 3 times already this evening, and we've started.
Before you finish introducing me.
We don't need to introduce you until I tell everybody how mad you were. Tito messages me and goes, Kari, I am boiling about this. And so I was like, Tito, come talk with me and Katie about this Friday night. So here's Tito. Tito, introduce yourself.
Here I am. I'm still boiling. In that moment when that finale ended, I was like, I need to talk about this. And I was wondering I wonder if they're recording tonight. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be in the chat. I'm going to rage message. And then you said you're recording tonight. So I was like, okay, I'm on. And yeah, I'm still upset. This was absolutely ridiculous. I think I missed the introduction part. My name's Tito. I'm here to talk about this nonsense of a final. The worst hour of television I maybe ever seen. This is absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen anything so ill-produced, so ill, formed. This was just so, just poorly done. This was so embarrassing to watch. They should be embarrassed as a production team to produce this and to allow for this to be an actual thing that we saw on television. I don't know. I can't. I'm so upset. I'm so sorry. I'm getting out some of this rage.
Please,
but yeah,
get it out. Don't
about
leave
it
in.
Because I've never been so disappointed in the show. Especially after it's been such a good season. I thoroughly enjoyed the season. I thought it was I was gonna say I was on the first episode of the pod. Beautiful, great, loved it. We were giving it such high regard, and now it's this was just the worst way to go out. It was such a bad episode all around.
And that's our podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. So
you should follow us at...
We are diving into this. We decided, and I do feel bad for Alyssa in this, but you know what? The first hour of the final just almost has no importance because of how bad the second hour was. So we're not going to give it much due diligence. If you're looking for that, sorry, that's not where our focus is tonight. I know
that's why everybody's tuning in.
Yeah, you really want to hear about Alyssa's boot episode. I know. So,
or Sarah's win episode. Give me a break.
Too much Sarah winning in this episode. So the things of importance are from that affect the rest of the game. Well, first of all, Alyssa leaves. So Angela loses her number 1. Angela beats her in the shortest pole wrestle of all time. And during the daily challenge, which has almost no effect on the men, except if you win, you have power and you can maybe protect the woman of your choice. Ben slips and messes up his shoulder. We don't know exactly what's wrong, but Ben slips, messes up his shoulder. So we that first hour, we don't know what's going on with Ben. He's I'm gonna play through it, but we know he's hurt. Not great to go hurt into a final. Anything else you guys want to say about that first episode before we really dive into the second hour of it?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Perfect. All right, so the challengers get on this tiny-ass plane. Very small, to which...
the anxiety that plane gave me. I was telling you, Kari, that I get anxiety watching the women on Real Housewives on their private jets. And this was mini, a third of the size of those tiny ass private jets. Mm-hmm. Come on, MTV. You don't have, or Viacom.
Yeah, I don't know who to blame, but everybody above. I'm going to mention quite a few times in this podcast, so forewarning. I listened to Tyson's last podcast of the season that covered this episode, I listened to the Challenge podcast with Devon and Devin about this. They had Sarah and Danny on as guests. I also read an article which had a couple little things that Tyson's podcast didn't have. That was like the Entertainment Weekly one, plus some other random stuff. So I'm going to be referencing things that from like behind the scenes that we clearly don't see because production loves to think that like their viewers are stupid and will just take things as fact, I guess. So first and foremost, there was people who were like ready to just leave based off that private jet alone. Tyson was like, people were freaking out, and quite frankly, I am okay traveling in big planes now. Like private jets, no longer my thing.
Yeah, it looked terrifying. I probably would have been like, I'm good. Like, I could not get on that plane. I would not be able to get on that plane.
They didn't have to jump out of it. That was nice.
I would have rather done that.
Yeah, I would have rather done that. At least it doesn't go as high.
That's
right.
True.
It just looked so like raggedy and like it's like really this is what we're doing. Like come on, this is supposed to be like one of the greatest like adventure shows of all time.
Right.
Like high production value, like greatest contestants we've seen. Right, it's a big network. Come on. And if like there's no value to like the show or the production, why not? Why do you have to put them in a plane? Like why do you need to even show us that? Like it didn't provide us anything. It just who cares? Like they're going to wherever they're going to do the final. Like move on. I'm
right.
Well, speaking of moving on, we will. So they get to the beach of where they're going. You can see these big ass mountains in the background, which will play a pivotal part of this final later on in the episode. But as soon as we get to the beach, TJ is like, Ben, so you messed up your shoulder last challenge. You've been medically disqualified. You are not able to compete in the final.
Yep.
Okay, first of all, if I'm Ben, I went to the hospital while I was still in that fucking bunker or whatever. You made me fly in that little ass plane just to put me on this beach to tell me to go home?
Well, he knew, right? Going on the plane, he knew?
I don't think so, because...
I thought that's what Tyson said in his interview, that Ben was told to sign a waiver that the show wouldn't have to pay for his hospital bills if he decided to run the final. He wouldn't sign it, so he knew that he was going to be able to run the final because he didn't sign the paper.
Then he must have chosen to sign the waivers because he didn't run it. Because his knee was messed up, I guess, as well.
I thought they flew him out anyway just to, like, have the moment, I guess.
So he must have chosen to not sign the waiver.
Right.
So I wonder if it was... I wonder when they presented him with the waivers.
I thought it was when they were still, like, in the bunker area, whatever area that was.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that Ben knew he wasn't running the final. And I think it makes sense, like, from a production standpoint, because they have to have a dramatic moment. Otherwise, Desi flying there, or, well, whoever. It wasn't Desi in the first round anyway. It was Sarah. One of them would not have had a partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had like make it
like
a TV moment, right? To be like, oh, we're gonna eliminate him before we even start.
Right.
And then like have TJ say some like, this is no joke kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, because if he had chosen to, they wouldn't have paid for anything. So he went with the insurance policy. That makes sense.
Honestly, well, he said in his exit interview on RHAP that he had to have surgery on his shoulder. So like, he was seriously injured.
The fact that you chose to listen to a Ben interview, Katie, you are the MVP of...
It was like 10 minutes, and it was also with Enzo, so I mostly wanted to just make fun of Enzo. Ben was just there.
Something I quickly realized was that, like, making fun of Enzo was a lot of people's, like, favorite thing to do during the season.
And during the Big Brother season.
Members.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an easy guy to make fun of.
So we find out that Ben can't participate. They also said, Tyson also said that Ben was so mad that he like didn't even do the end of season confessionals. Yes, so they gave everybody like the day off, and then you come back for a half day to a day, record your confessional. So they had nothing of Ben after he was eliminated. He like refused to do that.
I mean, what do they really need from him after he's gone anyway? He's not running the final, so like what more do they need?
Usually they get like the teary, like, I just wanted to prove to my family and to my kids that I could do this, and to just have this taken away from me, that like I'm going to come back next season bigger and better than ever, blah, blah, blah.
Man. Didn't need it.
We're good, Ben.
Good riddance.
Thanks, but no thanks.
So Ben's gone. TJ
Good
has
riddance.
this mini algorithm stand next to him and is like, we're still going to use the algorithm, but here's what's going to happen. One woman will be by themselves in every leg of this. Immediately I'm like, oh, we're going to have some fuckery go on in this final.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've watched any other final, there's typically something where the team has to bring like huge bags of shit with them, or like put together a tandem bike, and ride it together. Like all this other dumb shit that like you need a partner for. So I'm just like, great, who's gonna get screwed over here? And we find out who gets screwed over later. We'll talk about it when we get there. But like, it's also an advantage in some situations, which the person who really could have used it as an advantage didn't, but we'll talk about that too. I want to rip every single one of these people apart. I just want to say that. Like every single person on the show except for Tyson, I want to rip every single one of them apart verbally to their face. Come on the show. Let me rip you apart to your face. Let me.
I love that energy.
I hate them. Well, and Desi, not Desi. Desi deserves nothing but
Desi got fucked. Yeah. I got so mad at the end when TJ was like, this is the first final where everyone quit. I'm like, Desi didn't quit. She got forced to leave. Like, she didn't quit.
Don't do that to her like that.
Yeah, do not.
Yeah, no. So this was like the start of just the absolute mess that was this entire final, where like, oh, Ben's gone, so now we're gonna make up this random thing where now a woman's gonna run a portion of the final by themselves. Like, no, I feel like if in this situation, Ben can't run, make it all individual. Everyone does it individually. Right. Scrap the partner thing, because because then what happens. It makes it super unfair for certain people. Like there's like a give and take, I guess, but because the challenges, the checkpoints are so different, there's no way to like make it fair at all. Like how fair is it that Sarah gets to run or swim that portion by herself, not have to worry for a partner? I bet Desi would have loved that. Like, what if Sarah was the one partner with Enzo? That would have been great.
Would have loved it.
Wow, that would have been great. Why? And then maybe we'd be talking about a whole different episode. It would be a whole like a legendary final episode if Enzo and Sarah got disqualified.
Exactly. We'd have like hummingbirds eating out of our hands as we talked about it, and like butterflies like flitting around. It would be like a perfect spring day. It would be great.
It would be iconic.
As I told Katie, if that happened, that would have been the way that TJ's algorithm was actually perfect. And clearly it wasn't.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think as soon as you lose Ben, like you have to scrap the partner thing, because it makes everything else so messy, so unfair, and we can see it, right? As much as they try to hide it from us, we saw every portion of that they allowed for us to see, right, in the episode, and we could pick holes in it right away. Like, things are not fair. This is not clear, and they spoke to it as much as they did in those interviews, like the Tyson interviews. Like, there's so many things that they were unclear of. Rules weren't clear. Things were made up on the spot. The production crew was a mess. Like, there was a way to fix this and make it seem fair, like you're trying to like address the issues at hand, but they just played with them. They played with us as fans, making us think like they made us look stupid, think that we're stupid. Like, we're not stupid. We see it as bullshit. Like, I just get so frustrated thinking about like that was already a solution there. It's like, okay, like we lost Ben, let's make it individuals because the partner thing's not going to work anymore. And that would have at least solved a portion of the big mess that was this whole final. But it just continued to get worse and worse and worse.
Listen, I ate a piece of humble cheesecake on this very podcast defending this show. And if I could vomit up that cheesecake right now, if that wasn't weeks ago, I would do it onto this desk right now, because you know what? I made an ass out of myself defending this dumbass show on this podcast, because this show sucks. The production value sucks. The fuckery that went on behind the scenes. I mean, we'll talk about it, but I just like, TJ hates quitters, so TJ hates me because I'm done with the challenge after this. Like, as a lifelong challenge fan since the beginning, like, I'm done. I have no desire to watch the show again. Maybe All Stars I'll make an exception for, but like this main show that they're promoting 24 hours after the shit show that they put on TV last night, like, who's watching this shit? Who is watching this? You want to try and brush it under the rug? No, Kari, don't do it. Don't respect yourself. Respect yourself.
Listen,
this show it's fake. It has no integrity. Tito, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm going to need a new co-host next season. So.
Save yourselves. Save yourselves. Yes. Love yourself, Kari. Love yourself, Kari.
Listen, I do. Some things, we each have our vices. And to me, like, I'm still going to put an hour of my week aside to talk or to listen or watch a challenge. Because here's the thing. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to be brought back up to the top, right?
No.
I
This show is never coming back to the top, Carrie. It's not. It peaked 100 years ago, and it's never going to peak again.
I have a dumb sense of loyalty to things, and sometimes, and this is going to be one of them. I want to go back to something though, because Joseph Boza says I thought they would have done individuals or brought back David. I thought they might have brought back David, but I also had a different idea that no one has said yet. In this instance, why do you not make a mini daily challenge and then have a women's elimination? Hey, we had to change it up, because then you have 4-on-4 and you don't have to worry about this. And it also adds in like an extra level of excitement versus all the bullshit we had to watch for the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's not fair, but everything that happened in this episode is not fair. So I don't know why they didn't just do it. I don't know why they didn't just pick straws and then just say the person with the shortest straw has to go. I mean, like anything in the show could happen. Anything goes on the challenge. There's no rules. And if there are rules, they just change them midway through. So it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Just spin a fucking wheel and send someone home. It doesn't matter.
Something they already did, right? They could have said, all right, there's 4 men, 5 women. 5 women start on that platform. The first 4 to get to a guy to be your first partner, continue on. The woman that doesn't get to get to a guy, you're eliminated. You don't have a partner. Like, give it something so that like we see why it happened versus just being like, oh, like Ben's gone, so now we're doing this nonsense. Like, there needs to be reasoning behind their decisions and logic. And they were just like, okay, we're doing this. And it just that was, I think, what started the whole mess of it moving forward. Is that just became so unfair for everyone moving forward. And like, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
each piece of it.
They didn't really give us much time to even process like, oh shit, like there's going to be one woman on their own at all times, because we find out that in these pairs, if your partner quits, that means you're quitting. And the first leg of this is swimming. So the perfect algorithm fires itself up. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't 100% remember the pairs because it's not that important. The pair you need to know about is that Desi gets matched with Enzo. Enzo, who probably is even afraid of a bathtub, much less any other body of water, has to swim anywhere between 300 and 500 meters to shore. And what we find out is ice cold water that is very rough, because there was apparently
it looked rough.
A canoeing section, like a canoeing leg was supposed to happen after this part, and they had to scrap it because it was just too dangerous.
So it's too dangerous to canoe in a fucking boat, but you could swim in it? Like, how does this make sense? How does it make sense? Oh, no, it's too rough for a boat to be on it. So why don't you just jump your whole ass body into the water and start swimming?
You're trying to apply logic, and remember, we don't do that.
But it just, yeah, clearly we don't. Clearly I'm thinking about this in the total wrong. Hello, kitty cat, in the total wrong way.
Oh, I was like, where is your cat? Does your cat have a cone on?
He sure does.
Oh,
what happened?
He has an ear infection.
Oh. Sorry, Tito's cat. So, yes, I agree, Katie. And Tyson said on his show that he was surprised that everybody even jumped in the water because of like how intense it was and just how cold it was. Like, he was very surprised that even happened. He's like, oh, okay, people are actually like gonna go for it here. I thought we would lose a bunch of people just in that part alone.
The one thing I'm going to say is about the beginning is that we should have known Enzo was going to quit at this part, because in the first half of the show, of the episode, they had to jump in a river, like a calm looking river, and everybody else dove in, and Enzo just like hopped in holding his fucking nose and doggy paddled the whole way. So we should have known, but like, yet we didn't. And I wanted a gif of like just Enzo jumping in with his, holding his nose while everybody else dove in like a goddamn adult when this man is 44 years old or whatever, but whatever. And then, like, it was just pure foreshadowing. Just pure foreshadowing for this.
Enzo.
And it's ridiculous, too. And, like, again, having lost Ben already, they're going to eliminate Enzo and Desi immediately, which then, like, leaves 3 men competing in this final, 4 women. Like, it narrows it down really quickly.
Right.
And here's another solution that I feel like could have, been brought up at the spot and, like, helped some of this. instead of eliminating someone who doesn't complete or quote unquote quits, just don't allow them to get the points. Like if you're not going to complete the challenge, you don't earn the points that you would have received had you completed. Like if you
Or
got last
even-
place, you still get a point.
But did the points do anything? What is
Literally
the point?
nothing.
What's the point of the points? Like, there's no point of the points because they all left from that one. As soon as it turned into solo, they all went at the same time. It's not like anybody got a time advantage, or like at least in All Stars, like if you had more points, you had an advantage, or what? Nothing. The points were used for nothing. They were arbitrary points for no reason because they all started at the same spot. I just don't know what is the point of the points.
I'm wondering because this last All Stars where we liked how they used the points, they had an elimination based off the points. The bottom 2 points or people with like points had to do that like crossword thing, and so I wonder like did they have to scrap the points? The effect
but then
of the
don't even
points?
show it. Then don't even show us the points. Like you can edit the points out.
So much shit in this final. The amount of times we did not see TJ talking, but he was talking was absurd.
Okay. Can they get better at mixing the sound on the show?
Oh,
You've been doing it for
bad.
like 30 years. I don't know how you can't just make the sound like it's TJ actually speaking to them because it's like he's like, "Hey guys, this is TJ from the challenge," and then he's like, "And tonight we are going to do." It's like so different. It's just so different. It's like he's clearly in a studio.
And if it was like a good production, a good like writing, you wouldn't have had to do that anyway. Like if you have what you're supposed to say in the moment, and TJ was good at like doing that sort of thing. I'm not cheating TJ. We love TJ.
No, I'm shading TJ's ass.
But
TJ's
like,
part of it all.
It's bad. It's so it's embarrassing that like it has to happen ever, and they do it so like we're in on the joke. It's not. It's bad. It's really bad. Like
really
TV
bad.
to see that and to hear the difference. Like, who are your editors? Who are your producers? Like, figure that out. That's embarrassing. Figure it out.
They need to hire some people from The Bachelor because they're pros at frankenbiting.
So this swim part happens. Enzo has to be rescued because he is screaming, "I can't breathe," which to me, I know that when I talk, yell, scream, laugh, I breathe throughout that, all of those things. But Enzo apparently cannot breathe while screaming. Interesting to me. I'm not a doctor. I just work at a hospital, and I am just questioning it. That's all.
The crazy thing to me is that Enzo, when they cut to him and he's saying, "I can't breathe," he's fully, his chest, from his chest up, is above water. Like nothing is happening to him. He's just like treading water and he's like, "Help me, help, help." And then it's just like, wait, what? Nothing's happening to you. It's not like you're half underwater. It's just you're above water. Like, what's the problem? I can't breathe. And then Desi's trying to help him and he's like, "Get away from me, help." And it's like, wait, she's trying to help you. Like, what are you trying to do here? Like, what? I get he was like panicking. I'm not a super strong swimmer either, and like water's kind of scary sometimes. But like, what? Well, that's why I don't apply for shows like this. Also, by the way. But like, what are we doing? What can't you breathe from? You're above water. Nothing's happening to you, sir.
Yeah, I just hate that. Like, it's also if you're going to go on the challenge, like you know what you're signing up for.
Yes.
And odds are you are going to do things like this. And I think it's like, should we require all contestants to be able to swim? I don't know. Like, is it sometimes exciting and dramatic
Probably.
when dramatic things like this happen? Sure, I guess. But like, this was just so heartbreaking to see. Like, no one likes to see like someone having a panic attack. Like, I get that. Like, you're not cool with water. Fine. Don't do the show. We don't want to see this. And then now that they're like adding an extra layer of like, this is also going to affect somebody else who could have done really well in this final. Somebody else who I love Desi. I think that she's great.
Yeah.
And could have been a real competitor to win this. Maybe like a dark horse. And I feel like had she competed harder in the final, maybe we would have gotten to see more of her in the whole season. I feel like she was kind of quiet throughout the whole season. But like, if this isn't the way she went out, maybe she would have had a bigger arc in the whole show. I feel like she's really compelling television. I just think that going out this way puts such a damper on her as a contestant. She's viewed in this way. Like, I don't know. But like, don't go on the show if you can't swim. If you're not willing to jump out of a plane, if you're not willing to like eat gross things, like I don't want you on the show. I want people who are gonna be willing to do it. And sure, maybe it's hard for you and you're not super excited and jazzed about doing it. But like, if you're not going to, get out. I don't want to see that. I want to see people who are like ready to compete, wanting to do these things, have a hard time doing it, sure. But if you're just gonna straight up quit, goodbye. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Also,
I
here's
worked
the
at
thing.
a summer camp. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Katie.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. I worked at a summer camp, and in order to be able to go in any body of water, you had to take a swim test. Why aren't we doing swim tests for casts? If we can do that for 300 kids at a summer camp, you can do that for 28 adults on a reality TV show. That's all I'm saying. And then second, also make them take pregnancy tests. I'm sick of pregnant people being on the challenge. So swim tests, pregnancy tests. These are the two tests. COVID tests out, pregnancy tests in.
I mean, each
Don't
one is
call
like
me out like
$15 at the
that.
drugstore, aside from the swim test. But like, what are we doing here? Like, just send them a package, a pregnancy test and a COVID test. That's what you need to give them when they get on the show. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say, but basically, fuck Enzo. I forgot what I was going to say, but fuck Enzo. That's where I'm going to end it. Fuck Enzo.
Yeah, if I ever see him
I
on
remember.
any sort of anything moving forward, I'm done. Like
He has to go out. Like, this has to be like,
that's the end, right? Like,
this
where
has
else
to be.
would he be at? There's no way he's being invited back to any sort of challenge or anything. But like, what other show would he even consider?
right. He talks about, he's like, 3-time finals, yo. Like, yeah, you flopped 3 times. That's not impressive. You're a fucking flop, dude. That's not impressive. You lost. People were laughing at you in Big Brother All-Stars at your final speech because you're such a clown. Like, people are literally laughing at you. And Cody Calafiore had to be like, no, they're just laughing with you, bro. No, they're not. We were laughing at you. We were laughing at you. Everybody's laughing at you. The whole world is laughing at you. Yes, we're laughing at you. The laughter is at you, not with you. It's at you. They should just let them time out, is really where I was going with this. Like, they should have let the timeout situation. I know we're going to talk about it when we get further in.
Great transition, Katie, because we actually need to bring up timing out right now. Because once the swimming part was complete, they still had to complete a slide puzzle. And we know that Angela struggled with slide puzzles just a couple days earlier in the last daily challenge. But with these slide puzzles, everyone completed theirs except Dom and Angela. Now, Dom and Angela did not have to complete their slide puzzle to complete the leg. Let's note that. This is going to be important for discussion later on. They did not have to complete it. Everybody else completed it. Once they did, time's up. Like, you guys are officially last place.
And they still get their point.
And they got the 2 points.
All right, 2 points because Enzo and Desi were gone.
Right.
Yeah.
But so why is it then that Desi and Enzo have to finish the first leg of this challenge, but Dom and Angela don't have to finish the second leg of this first part of the challenge? Like, it doesn't make sense. They should give them a certain amount of time to be able to swim to the beach. They can't get there. Okay, you timed out that part. Give a point for that. And then, okay, now everybody you get to do the puzzle. Like, we saw in Survivor this past season really choppy water and a really choppy challenge, and like they kept trying it, and then they were like, you know, for player safety, we're gonna change it and like come back to the beach. Like the water's too rough. Like, how are we still letting these people who are not strong swimmers, like, you're not forcing Enzo to take check his swimming or whatever, take a swim lesson before getting in the water, but you're letting him out there in this crazy, I mean, you could see on the show it was very choppy and very rough water. You're just going to let him sit there and have a panic attack and then just not like bring him to the beach and say like, okay, you timed out. You're just automatically in last place. You're forcing him to quit. Like, where's the player safety in that? Like, oh, he's drowning, so we're just going to make him quit. It's either he's going to die from drowning or we're going to force him to quit. Like, it just makes no sense. But these two people, they couldn't finish puzzles, so I guess we're going to time out. Like, I just don't understand the logic.
And this confusion will continue on.
Yes.
Right. Let's move on past the start line of this final.
Well, not only that, I'm sorry. I know we want to move on. Why can't Desi then, who didn't quit, partner up with the single woman, if we're sticking with partners, that is in the rotation? Why can't Desi, who didn't quit, who was going to still continue swimming, let her finish the part swimming to the beach, just like Sarah got to swim by her damn self, and then she could partner up with Kayla on the second leg? Why can't we do that?
We can't have two women be partners.
God forbid we have two women being partners.
Absolutely
It would be too emotional. Far too much estrogen. Someone would get their period.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God, imagine.
It would attract bears.
Then they'd get their period at the same time. Their cycles would align. It would be like a whole thing.
And there weren't enough tampons to go around.
Yeah, no, they only had one tampon they had to share between the whole cast. So
apparently they did advocate for, like, the contestants advocated, like, why can't Desi pair up with the women production was like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
Which,
Nah.
like,
Yeah, no,
production.
we're just not gonna do it. Yeah.
There is also the drama that, like, they had to travel from where this leg ended to a different place because, again, there was supposed to be a canoeing part, but they didn't canoe. And they, like, made Desi, who's just, like, in hysterics crying, she got forced to quit, like, travel with them to the next, like, starting point, and then she, like, had to go on her way. So, like, here's Desi
And I'm sure she was
trucking
stuck
along.
with Enzo too, right?
I don't. Maybe there had to be more than, maybe they did separate cars, or, like, I don't know. Maybe Enzo was in there. That wasn't brought up, but I just feel bad for Desi in how that was handled. So our next leg of this, we have our pairs made, whatever. Kayla is the person by herself. Was the first part just a run?
Yeah, I
I
think they
can't
just had
even
to
remember.
run to the
Oh, yeah, they did,
food.
because they didn't know how long it was going to be. And I remember Tyson saying Sarah and Tyson thought it was going to be a longer run. So the clothes that they had, they left like a heavy jacket each back at like the starting line, because they're like, if this is going to be a long distance run, we don't want to be running with this. Everybody else kept their heavy clothes. It ended up being not that long of a run, but they get to the next like part of this leg, which is each player had to eat a whole onion. They had to drink lemon juice and eat garlic in order to go on. So this was, first of all, Katie, I remember us talking about this. I think of like the vegan or non-vegan, or yeah, All Stars, because like we had what?
Because
Elite,
Nehemiah was a vegetarian.
Nehemiah,
And they made him
vegetarian.
eat animal parts.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up. That's fucked up.
So a small improvement in that we had a vegan eating challenge.
Yes.
Could either of you eat a whole raw onion like
1,000%.
You
1,000%. Oh yeah,
think
I
we
love
could.
onions.
raw?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they're in salads raw. I eat them in salads all the time.
But like with salad, like not like just like.
Yeah, but I like Angela's approach of putting the lemon juice on the
Yeah.
food, and
Oh,
like
you
that's a
see
little
Puff's
mini salad.
episode we
I think I
watched?
could do it. I wouldn't enjoy it, but I've definitely bitten out like an onion before, just like an apple, just like for funsies. I probably could do it if I had to, but like I wouldn't enjoy it.
I feel like eating it like an apple's not the move though, because it's like that would be overwhelming. What Angela did, I feel like just cutting it up in like as little bits of pieces as possible and just like eating it without like maybe chewing it as much, because I feel like when you chew it, that's when like the
Yeah.
so I guess is it spicy? I don't know. The onioniness of it comes out, and that's when it like overpowers you. So just like cut it up. What she did was a really smart move. She's a chef. She's a vegan chef. She has Angela's plant-based kitchen.
I have that cookbook.
Oh, is it good?
I absolutely do not have that cookbook.
I was surprised to hear you say you had it. I was like, oh, tell me more.
I think I would have been Kayla in this situation.
I would have roasted the shit out of you, Kari.
Listen, I can eat onions, like raw onions. I don't enjoy raw onions. So I think I would have struggled. I sauteed onions though, I'll eat that shit all day. However, raw, plus I don't even like to eat apples in the way where you like bite into them like that. Like I need to cut up my apples. My teeth are sensitive to that.
Me too. No, I don't bite into apples like that.
Yeah, when I see people do that, I'm just like, I'm kind of jealous. I need a knife or a decor. Thanks. I think I would have been a bit like Kayla in this. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to go and sit and eat an onion to find out, but I feel like I would be more of a Kayla than anybody else in this situation. I'll admit it.
The garlic, I feel like, was a weird touch because garlic is like, I mean, you can't see what I'm doing, but it's small. Just pop that shit in your mouth and swallow it whole.
So they were apparently elephant garlic. They were big. And some of them were able, so I think Tyson and Danny said he swallowed a couple of them whole, but then after like the second one, he wasn't able to do it. So he had to like bite into it. I think Tyson swallowed all of them whole.
That's horrifying. Like that's, I think, more like I'm really bad at like taking medicine, like taking pills if I need to. Like I don't think I could do that. Like even like little tiny like ibuprofen or Advil, I'm like like struggling to get it down. So there's no way I could do that. I would feel like I'm choking and dying.
I feel like garlic once you take like the rind off or whatever, the peel, like it's kind of smooth.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would just, take a swig of that lemon juice, slide it right down there.
And even thinking about it just now makes me nervous.
The first time I ever took like pill medicine, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest, my dad made me drink a gallon of water trying to drink this pill medicine before school one morning. He's like, "You're not staying home sick. Take this." And I drank a gallon of water before school trying to swallow a pill. I had to go to the bathroom 3 times during second period, and my teacher was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Oh my God.
I'm like, my dad made me drink a gallon of water this morning. I'm like,
They were
I'm
like,
not being
"Boop,
abused,
boop, boop,
but maybe
let me-"
I am. I'm not sure. I don't think this falls
Hard
under
to
like
say.
what to call DCF about, but like I really have to pee. It was so bad. Anyway, so yeah, I think I went on Kayla, but here's the point we need to make about this is that every pair finishes eating, and then they just had to run up to somewhere else. There was nothing else after. Oh, there was
Yeah, there was a
The
math
barrels.
equation.
math,
equation.
right? Because I remember thinking at this like, oh, swimming, which David was capable of, math, which David was capable of. I really wish David beat Enzo. I was pining for David Alexander by
Well,
the
maybe
second.
David should have gotten off his fucking ass and stopped pulling down Enzo's shirt as a form of defense, and he could have been there. Maybe he should have done that. I don't know. Just a thought.
David was better at final things. Enzo was better at elimination things. Like, and anyway.
That's proof why going into an elimination to get to a final does not mean a final you should run.
Yeah. It's a great point. David Alexander and Enzo have together proven this for us.
Yes.
But Kayla is back there eating, drinking, crying for a long, 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 long time.
I thought she was gonna quit. I thought we were getting a little montage of like, oh, this is how Kayla ends. This is how she quits.
I thought that too. And I mean, I was roasting her anyway because, I mean, I get it. Onions and garlic and lemon juice is like not the most appetizing thing, but it's like, this is food that we eat every day. Okay. And like, you sat there and you saw what Angela did, and she cut her thing up and she put the lemon juice on it and then she ate it. Maybe try that as a strategy instead of just like sitting there and crying and hoping that it'll be easier to eat this onion. I don't know. Like, take some of the strategy of what the people around you were doing. You're one person, everybody else is two, and they finished way before you, and you're sitting there crying over literal food that people eat every day. You don't have to eat a bull's testicle. You don't have to eat a fucking eyeball or a bowl of maggots. Like, you're good. It's onions and garlic. Suck it up and eat that shit and move on. It's for what we thought was $500,000, but it's actually for $250,000. But whatever. I mean, like, come on.
So Sarah and Danny both said in their interview with the Challenge podcast that it burned their taste buds off, and like neither of them were able to taste food for over a week.
Ooh,
so
that's terrible.
And I know Kayla said like I felt like my mouth was on fire, like it was burning. So like, not excusing her, just saying like they did say that they weren't able to taste food for over a week. Like, it really fucked them up, that eating part.
Well, listen, I will say, I wouldn't be able to do one of any of these things that they did in the final. So I'm just sitting on my chair with my glass of wine talking shit. So like, good for them for doing it. I would not be doing it. I'm just here to talk about it. So I could talk a big game, but in reality, I probably wouldn't be able to do it either. But just from a watching perspective, I'm like, you're really crying over onions and garlic, ma'am.
Tune in next week when the three of us come back to eat 1 clove of garlic, 1 small onion,
oh, I would do it,
and however many ounces of lemon juice.
But do you remember that one where Nani's cousin had to eat like it was like, they were like huge bugs, like worm bugs. Do you remember that? And she quit, and TJ like was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that shit is disgusting. Mm-hmm. That's like, I would quit over. That's something I would be like, no. She got lucky she had to eat onions and garlic.
Yeah. And Tyson was like, this was the most demoralizing thing I've done on television ever.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And having like 40 people surrounding us, just like watching us eat and throw up was, and when I'm hearing him say this, is like, have you watched previous seasons of the challenge? Because like, you guys got off easy with what you had to eat. But here's the point I want to make with this. Kayla, despite it taking her 3.5 days to finish, does finish this leg. They make her finish it. So even though everybody else finishes, does their math puzzle, and they're waiting there for her, which, by the way, they had to wait there for her, which Tyson said for at least an hour and a half. So they were all freezing. And Tyson and Sarah had left their heavy jackets at the beginning of the leg, so they don't have those to stay warm in. They had to wait for her to finish. So in the first leg, did not have to finish the slide puzzle. The second leg had to finish eating to finish the math puzzle. So we have one timeout situation and one not.
But here's the thing that I guess for the food, it was a race. But when everybody else finished their equation, let her stop eating and just be like, you timed out. I understand, like, okay, Dom and Angela, they had to go to a different location. So, like, okay, you timed out because, like, you're last. So you're going to get this amount of points no matter what. They should have gotten 0 points instead of actually gotten points. If you're going to time out, make them finish to get the points. But, like, it could have been the same thing with Kayla. Like, okay, everybody else is done. So just get 0 points and then you've timed out. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I know. I just don't know why I say anything because none of us get it. Nobody gets it. Literally nobody. Does production get it? Doubt it.
No. Production's probably just a bunch of like, like people trying to get into the industry, making it up as they go, and they're like, oh, MTV, the challenge is my stepping stone to like bigger and better production editing like opportunities.
Yeah, it's like they just went to like, no shade to community college. I went to community college, but they just like got out of community college film school and got a job on the challenge. They're like, cool, I'm gonna put together this final, and they have no real world like film experience at all or production experience. That's what it feels like.
Or even just like rule creating like game experience, because I feel like again, very solvable situations if we just established rules and allowed for things to go the way they were supposed to go. Good Lord.
After this leg of the race, we move on to a leg where Justine is the woman on her own, which is really the only important part of like knowing the pairs here. And you have to memorize 10 numbers. And then once you memorize 10 numbers, you have to take your decoder up to a certain spot. So you have to run up with your decoder. And you had to use the decoder to figure out like which letter matches up with which number. You'd get these letters. It creates a word. And there was some part in it where you had to like give the producers the sum of the numbers. I don't know if that was shown on TV, though, if it was just Tyson telling us that. I honestly can't remember, but to me it exists because Tyson says so. Your cat is the star of the show. Yes, I love when like you put it off screen and then there's just like I start seeing the cone over your shoulder.
I'm obsessed. I love that he like climbs on your shoulder. I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed.
He's annoying.
No, he's wonderful.
So here we are. Everybody has a partner except Justine. So everybody only has to memorize 5 numbers. Justine has to memorize 10.
Yep.
What the fuck? Like
Sarah swimming alone and doing a puzzle alone.
Okay.
Advantage. I think that's an advantage. Swimming alone, not having to worry about a partner quitting and not being able to swim. Doing the puzzle, arguable if you're good at slide puzzles, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Dom, by the way, was like, I got this. I got puzzles. No, bro, you don't. You actually suck at puzzles. Clearly, throughout this whole episode, you have sucked at puzzles.
He couldn't figure out the one puzzle where you have to put your foot over the hole. Like, that's a one-piece puzzle, and he couldn't figure that out.
And he was the piece, and he still couldn't fucking figure it out. And then eating alone, I think that part should have been an advantage. Maybe the math part, not so much. I could have used a partner in that. Probably Kari. I would hope it would be you in that situation. But like this part is clearly a disadvantage to Justine because she has to remember all 10 numbers in, I don't know, was it in order? I guess not, but like how else are you going to not remember them? Mm-hmm. Carry this gear, do the math yourself, try and figure out that's a lot on one person.
And it's like immediately like inconsistent with what we just saw, right? So like we need to determine what each checkpoint was and what had to be accomplished. So I think like fine, you swim from wherever you are to the shore, do a puzzle, accomplish. One person can do it. With Kayla, it was right, each person had to eat a whole onion and the cloves of garlic and the lemon juice. But as a team, they ate 2, right? 2 whole onions, like however many cloves of garlic, and 2 bottles of lemon juice. Which so like if each person has their own like their own amount to eat, again, just make it individual. Why do they have to be in partners to begin with? And then move on to the next one, where again the task is to memorize these 10 numbers, do this whole gear thing. as two people, but she's one. To me, like, I don't see how them seeing it happen live didn't realize, oh, this is actually very inconsistent and very unfair. Like, you're making a TV show.
Right.
Like, I don't, like, these are things you need to think about. As soon as Ben can't perform, you need to think about your entire final and how that's going to affect each leg, each portion, why that's inconsistent, why it's a benefit for Sarah to swim by herself, why it's not, and the huge disadvantage for Justine to do that leg by herself, which, shout out to her, she did it. She accomplished it, as far as we know, right? Like,
yeah, Tyson said she was able to. No, she memorized all of her numbers and gave the sum. But once
she forgot the thing, right?
She did that. She forgot the decoder, and it was at that point they were like, "Forget it. Don't go back and get it. You're just going to take last in this."
Oh, but they let her, right? They didn't force her to do it? What a surprise.
Oh, so you mean she didn't finish the challenge, but she got to continue? You see? Oh, my
but
God.
Kayla had to Kayla was taking last no matter what. She had to finish her onion and her garlic and then do the math.
Tito has lost his glasses in frustration. That's where we're at right now. We aren't even at like the preposterousness, the audacity, the everything.
The more that we dig into it, the like more upset I get, because it was so solvable. Like you really put this on primetime television and like shat in our faces. Like, you really thought you were doing something with this show, and just like, I can't. Like, it really reminds me of, like, you know, like these college bros who are making like a film together for their college class, and they think it's so good. They're like, check out our cool movie, and it's whack. Like, that's what this is. This is so embarrassing. I'm so mad that I get so passionate about silly things like this, because this show's dumb, right? Like, we know it's silly, it's for the drama, but it was doing so well to just be like shat on at the end. I feel so embarrassed. Like, I don't anticipate the Challenge USA season 2. Like, there's no way. Like, the way that this ended, like, there's no way they're getting like a season 2 for this. Like, I'm sure the Challenge Championship is going to be another bunch of bullshit. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that mess.
Part of me feels like it's just never going to happen.
It's just so embarrassing. Like, I'm embarrassed to like. Sorry, we'll move on.
So, we did say it, but do you want to reiterate? So we have a second leg where the person was able to time out. They did not have to complete it, but I do want to give Justine her props, because we were told by Tyson that she did memorize all 10 of her numbers. She did get the sum correct. So like, she did the hard mental stuff, and she just forgot. And it wasn't like she wasn't willing to go run back and get it. They just told her like, don't do it. You've already come in last. I also want to like add in a little bit of education here, is that the normal person can remember plus or minus 2 numbers or plus or minus 2 anything of a 7 piece series. So that means, so that's why telephone numbers before like we had to use area codes for everything are 7 numbers, right? So everybody who has a partner has to remember the short end of that plus minus 2.
Yep.
Justine has to remember plus 3 from like the normal human. That I'm sitting there just being like, AP Psych taught me this, and I'm pissed right now. Like, this is at the point where that cat meme of like the cat batting on the keyboard, like this was Kari on Twitter that night. Like, if you go and look at the timeline, this is when shit gets a little dicey over on my timeline. That's for sure. I'm still getting fucking likes on it. I woke up the next morning to 20 notifications.
Well, the people are mad.
Yeah, they're with me. There was a few people against me, which didn't come until this next part, and those people can suck my dick from the back. So let's get into this.
Wait, before we go on,
Tyson, Katie, go ahead.
Tyson did say that they added the numbers, him and Angela added the numbers correctly a bunch of times, and production said no, it was wrong, and was going to send them back. And Tyson was like, no, these are the numbers. Are these numbers right? And they were like, yeah, your numbers are right. And they're like, okay, then this is the math. And they were like, oh, you're right. And it like could have lost them the challenge. I mean, did they come in first? I think they came in first on this one still. But like, that could have lost them the challenge. And there's just like no apologies, no time adjustments. I mean, not that it's a timed thing because it's in points, which the points didn't matter anyway, so there's really no point to the points. But like in other finals, we see like it's just a collective unit of time that they added up, but I don't feel like they do that anymore, because that holds people accountable to actually keeping time, and we know they don't want to do that anymore. So it's like, this happened in All Stars 2 in the final with the safes, there were issues with the safes that people couldn't get in, and production was telling them, no, you're doing it wrong, but then production was actually wrong. It's just like, this show is really poorly put together. And it's just like, season after season, there's like something here, there's something here, there's something here. And it's just like, when are we going to like have them address it and be like, yeah, we fucked up.
They try to get too like cute with it, right? Like having all these checkpoints, all these challenges with all these different rules. If they went back to like the basics, right, where the final was one long continuous race, and like I get that can be like not the most exciting thing to watch. Like if someone just like takes off and is ahead for so long, like that's the winner. But like if that's how you can avoid having all these discrepancies of like points and times and issues with all these things, like I'm for it. Have a long 10-mile race with little whatevers in between that are like not complicated and don't need to be like reviewed or like have all these like questions about them and like, oh, what about this? And like if you do it that way, then you have like a solid final and a solid like winner. You know what I mean? Like I just think there's again, there are ways to solve this, and you are a whole production team in charge of it. Solve it. Oh my god.
Who's done this 37 times before, excluding All Stars and Champs versus Pros.
Yeah, above 40.
Right, like this is like could be a seasoned team of people.
It's not like your first or second or 10th rodeo. It is, and it's so frustrating because, like you said, Tito, we're on a main station here. It's not like you have to like do a lot of work to find this show. You can easily find this show. It's not on MTV. It's not on Paramount Plus, which you can get free for a year if you have T-Mobile or Sprint. Just got mine. Oh. So shout out to anybody who doesn't want to pay for that for a year.
That's good to know. Commercials?
It's I don't know. There's probably commercials, but some of us are poor, Katie.
No, I get it.
No, I'm getting rid of Hulu without ads once Housewives is taken off of there on Monday. So maybe I'll up my well, I'm not even on Paramount Plus. Forget it. Whatever. Anyway, so these people should be able to do better, and it's incredibly frustrating that we're not at the point of doing better. So this next part, for me, I don't want to even say it's the peak of my frustration, because I think I might be even more mad about what happens after this, but we'll carry on.
This is what I thought was the peak and should have been the peak. Then it just gets worse. And you think it just like can't get worse, but it does.
This is just the most blatant part, I think, or like the first blatant part, where before it's like, oh, that was weird, or like that seemed weird, or like if you're not thinking about the inconsistencies, maybe they're not like, you know, really like, sticking out in your mind.
Challenge being,
challenge. Explain it. You could explain it away, maybe. But this was just like beyond.
So we get to what ends up being the overnight portion. And we've seen plenty of overnight portions before where you have one person who is in a pair resting and the other person standing or having to like hold on to something, balance, whatever it might be. We've seen so many varieties of this. Well, not tonight, but whenever they did this, there was a pile of rubble that they told us, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that they just had to like move that pile of rubble, correct? Like that was it. That's all we were told.
One area, like across the field.
Yeah. Come to find out, they actually had to move that pile of rubble to the other place, use that pile of rubble to then like access something else to get a code, then move the pile of rubble back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Tyson said this. There was supposed to be a lot more to it than there actually was.
What?
Yes.
Y'all, Katie's face.
Yeah, if you are choosing to listen to this in podcast form, that's the wrong choice tonight. You're first of all missing the cat. Second of all, you're missing a lot of facial expressions.
I'm just gonna not say anything, because how many more times can I say it doesn't make sense?
There was a lot more to this challenge, this leg of the challenge, than we even saw introduced into the directions. So the perfect algorithm does its thing. Angela is by herself for this. So the pairs go over, they start digging, and Angela is like, I'm going to come in last for this no matter what. Like, there's no way I'm winning this. I'm going to sleep in the tent.
She did do a few laps, though.
Yeah, it's not like she just like looked at it and then was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." But she was very vocal about her reasoning. Also, we got some very vocal confessionals from twats like Sarah Lucina, and
Every single one of them and their confessionals infuriated me. Infuriated me. Anyway, we'll talk about it after we
all those
finish
women were
explaining.
so lucky that they weren't the one that was on the overnight for that part. Like,
right.
Right. And I think, again, this is where it shows if you had just made it an individual, like, piece, like, then you had there's no reason to feel like you're being disadvantaged. Because, like, I don't know, Kari, did it say anything about, like, did Angela have to move less rubble?
yes.
Like, 2/3.
So but they didn't announce that on the show.
No.
So let's give the show's version, and then let's give what we found out is to be the real version, aka Tyson's version. Because again, I'm taking all of Tyson's shit as fact. We were talking about it prior to going live. Like, we feel that, I think Tito and I were, Katie was grabbing wine to prepare for this. So
Tito inspired me.
We feel like there's no reason for Tyson to lie about this. We have seen Tyson on 4 seasons of Survivor. We've heard him on podcasts for years. Like, we know he is very blunt. He is very straightforward. There's just no reason for him to be lying about any of this shit. And then in addition, if you listen to the podcast, he does not frame anything in like a I should have won way. It doesn't come from like a sense of pettiness of losing. It's more like a I can't believe I had to deal with this shit type of perspective. So I'm taking what he says as fact, because this is also, if you've been listening to Sarah Lucina exit interviews, this is where this bitch starts lying up a storm or just like neglecting truths. So we'll get into all that. But here's what the show says. Move your rubble from one place to another. Partner, you can sleep whilst your other partner is doing it. That's basically it. Here's what we find out is actually happening. We find out that, like I mentioned, they have to move the rubble, use that to like access something, to like get a code, and then move things back to like open. There was a whole bunch more they had to do. We also find out that Angela was told she only had to move 2/3 of the rubble, which still doesn't make sense mathematically.
It's not half.
Right. And she doesn't get to like take a break and sleep like other people do because they have a partner. So mathematically, that rate doesn't make sense. Also, if you're going to do that, then why didn't Kayla only have to eat 2/3 of an onion? So anyway.
Or why didn't you have to memorize 2/3 of the numbers?
Right.
But also, why 2/3? Why not half? It doesn't make sense.
You're not missing 1/3 of a partner. You're missing 1/2 of a partner. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Plus, if you do the whole like mathematical equations of it, you know, when you have those word problems, it's like one person paints a wall in 4 hours, the other person paints a wall in 8 hours. If these two people work together, how long will it take? It's never just 6. It's never halfway in between. It's different. So like that's not even the math of it all. They fucked up the math so bad. You could have gone to an Algebra 1 classroom and figured this out. But anyway, so yeah, there's
that's incredibly frustrating to like find out, because with those directions, with those rules and instructions that Angela was given, yeah, fuck that. I'm going to take the 2 points or the minimum points that I'm going to get anyway and rest up for tomorrow. Like, It's not fair that she gets to find, like basically play the production and be like, I found a loophole in your rules that benefits me, and because you don't like it, I'm out?
Right.
I jumped the gun. But like, what? She's out? Yeah, So when they're like, they woke up the next morning, whatever, they finished, and they wake up the next morning, and TJ comes in, and this big lead up, Angela, you didn't finish. Dun, 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 dun. Commercial. And I was like, wow, they're really about to trying to fool us and make us think they're about to eliminate Angela. I was literally like, this is so silly. Like, they're not going to eliminate Angela. That's so dumb. Like, that'd be the absolute dumbest thing ever. To come back from commercial and they eliminate her?
Yeah.
I was
expecting
TJ so to done. Be like, I was so done right there. And like the way that, like, even TJ really got my nerves this final too. Like, he was just so like, you didn't get it done. Like, you didn't, as if like he's almost like enjoying like DC, like these CBSers don't know about the challenge. Like they give up, they quit. It's like, no, your bogus ass production team sucks. And these people are better, more strategic players than a lot of your MTV challengers and find these loopholes because you are not clear in your directions. Do a better job and have these competitors actually compete based on certain rules. And if they find a loophole in your rule, that's on you.
Yep.
And I was so upset. And what is she supposed to do?
Like, what is she actually supposed to do in this scenario?
Right.
Stay up all night and still come in last?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Why torture herself? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what if like she made a deal with Tyson and Tyson was like, I'll wake you up 5 minutes before the end, or like whatever. Like, would she have quit then? Or is her just being up before production said they had to get up, is that like enough? And she just did like one more thing. She did try. That's the thing. It's like she didn't quit. She tried, just like Angela just like she and Dom tried at the puzzle, just like Justine tried at the memorization thing. They were able to time out. Why wouldn't Angela be able to say, I'm clearly going to lose this. There are 2 people versus me. This doesn't make any sense for me to kill myself all night.
And it would be different if they made it equitable and they were like, again, if it was Angela has to move half of the amount, then I would say like, yeah, Angela should have done it, because at that point there is an incentive to be like, oh, I could potentially beat a group of 2 doing double the amount, because in essence, right, it's the same amount of work. And so in that way, it's like, you could have solved this. Again, there are solvable solutions. Solvable solutions? Well, there are things that would have solved these issues that are right in front of your face that you like avoided, are too dumb to like consider. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This is when I was at my highest. It wasn't, but I thought it would be my highest.
Yeah. I was going to almost say like, maybe if they made the same people stay up all night and do it, but that wouldn't have been fair. I mean, like, it just doesn't, even if she only had to move half, it's still not fair, because the other people could trade off and sleep, and she would be up the whole night with no sleep trying to compete against them. That's what I just don't understand it. I just don't understand the logic here. Maybe they should have given her the option to say, you can either like try this and see how far you get and you'll get 2 points, or you can rest and get 0 points.
Right.
Because guess what? The points don't matter. So it doesn't matter how many points she gets. They didn't matter.
Say the points did matter. That should have been the rule, right? The solution. If you do not complete a checkpoint, you don't get the points.
Right.
If you complete it in last, you get
2 or whatever.
Point, whatever it is. And so like, again, if that was the rule, then fine. Like, she quote unquote doesn't complete it, she doesn't get the points. But like, I don't know, just the decision making here was so silly. You already lost Ben, right? You already lost Enzo and Desi. Like, you're going into this like final, you're gonna lose another person. Like, I feel like it was almost, they wanted this to happen. Like,
that's what it felt like.
We want to see them all quit and fail, because they don't know what this show is. This show is high and mighty, and they're Big Brother players, they're survivors, they don't know about the challenge. Like, it just seemed so like so silly and so obnoxious.
Right.
I think I have 3 or 4 things in response to everything that's been said. So, first and foremost, why the fuck did production not say, Angela, if you choose to do this, it will count as a disqualification?
Right.
That is first and foremost my biggest complaint. And I've had people on Twitter come at me being like, that would be helping her. It's not fucking digging rocks for her. Like, no. It would just be like, hey, the decision you're making is going to cause you to quit. So like, you will get DQ'd.
Make an informed decision. That's not helping anybody. It's helping her be informed of the fucking rules. Is that how is that not fair? Yeah, that's the rule. If you're going to be
playing a game, you need to know the rules.
Right.
And if they said, if you do not attempt this or do not work towards completing this throughout the evening, the night, whatever it is, you will be considered quitting, disqualification.
Right.
And I guarantee if she heard that, if those words were said to them, she'd be like, well, I'm not going to be disqualified from this. I'm not gonna quit the whole final. I'm going to stick it out. And maybe she like slogs her way through it. Like, if that was me, fine, I'm by myself.
I would just put like one rock in at a time.
Double and like just loungily walk around, like moving shovel. Like, if I'm losing anyway, that's what I would do. And like sleepwalk, honestly. But like, for them to try and make us again feel like we're silly and dumb and crazy for thinking what we're thinking, like, you have the ability to make the rules and you don't make them clear. And so when people find loopholes, or not even a loophole, it just wasn't a rule. So like, it just makes me so frustrated, because again, could have been solved. There were solutions for all of this.
We have more reasons to be mad. So before I move on to the reason that I think is actually the most infuriating out of all this, no, I think the producer should have said something that makes me the most mad about the
I think that
situation.
makes me the most mad too.
My like 1A to this is those of us who've been challenge fans for a while, and are like into the challenge, we know shady shit has gone on with the challenge season in, season out. It's no surprise, but we also know, like, especially we've heard of things on the overnight portions that have gone weird. We know Johnny Bananas took ADD
Adderall.
medication to stay up all night, and he ended up winning that season. Was not eliminated. He was fined low key and ended up stealing Sarah's money in like
Literally was like, you rest, I'll stay up all night, it'll be great. Took Adderall, production knew, and he got a chance to steal Sarah's money and did it when he won.
So to tell me that, like, because Angela got to share a tent with 7 or 8 other people who smelled like onions and garlic, that put her in a better position and would get the least amount of points, to not let her keep going, fuck all the way off. Okay, here's the next thing that's infuriating, which Joseph Boza has been implying a lot in our comments on YouTube, which again, if you aren't watching this on YouTube, this is a YouTube episode for sure. Is that we find out from Tyson that actually only Sarah and Dom finished this challenge. No one else finished this challenge. Here's what happened. Sarah and Dom are about to finish, and production comes up and is like, listen, we've been up as long as you guys. We are tired. Here's what we propose. Sarah and Dom are about to finish. They'll get first place. Danny and whoever, you're in second. Tyson, whoever, you're in third. That's it. So Tyson was like, it was actually kind of nice of Dom and Sarah to not be like, no, everybody has to finish, or like, doesn't it count as a quit? But Tyson was like, yeah, basically all of us should have been done, and Dom and Sarah should have been the winners based off of that alone. No one else finished that leg of the challenge. Production stepped in and was like, we're tired. We want to go to bed. You're all going to bed too. Yep. So no one finished that challenge except Sarah and Dom.
But Angela quit. Even though she did move wheelbarrows of whatever, dirt, rock, whatever.
And Tyson said, he's like, in hindsight, I wish I had stood up for her when they said that, like, what she did count as a quit, because none of us actually finished except for Sarah and Dom. However, I didn't, and like, I regret that. But yeah, no one except Sarah and Dom actually finished. So there could have been the end of the whole fucking final as is, if you want to go with these. So the fact that Angela got eliminated, but no one else did, to me is almost as much bullshit as not one single producer. Because what, there's 40 of them? Like Tyson said, 40 people watching us. So we'll say anywhere between 15
go to bed.
to
Why aren't they trading
people.
off?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that they're trading off too. Like, to not say, hey, if you do this, you're going to get eliminated.
Right.
I had a third point, and I can't remember what it was. It did feel like they were going to, like, they made like an example out of Angela. Yeah. Here is our best competitor of the whole season, man, woman, whoever, and we're eliminating her because she chose to not do this. I was kind of hoping that TJ would just be like, Angela, after all you've done this season, like, I would expect more out of you. You better pick it up, because now we're doing individual. But then it's like, oh, she quit. I'm like,
you see, and that's what I was expecting when they were like, when they cut to commercial, like, they're gonna pretend like they're gonna eliminate her, but they're not. I was like, we're gonna get a like TJ confessional. I was like,
yeah,
you can't be doing that shit. Like, pick it up. Like, you know how strong you are. Like, you're the best competitor here. Like, come on, kind of thing. And then been like, we're awarding you 0 points because you didn't, whatever.
Right. Or what, you know what? Fine. We're going to take away a point because you technically quit. Don't disqualify her. She did not quit.
It just, oh my God. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Take away all her points. They didn't fucking matter anyway. Just take away.
Right, because there wasn't a single point,
wipe them out.
Where it went to like, oh, once the individual portion started, we didn't hear anything about points.
Nothing.
Yeah. And so on the challenge podcast, Sarah Lacina had to make sure that we knew that if the points had continued, she still would have won, because and then she explained like the breakdown of it, that she would have like beat Angela by like 2 points or something.
Okay, ma'am.
Even if they didn't
Based on
disqualify
what?
Angela. She explained it, and I'm not gonna lie to you in that I paid her the full attention, because as soon as she started saying this, I was on Twitter all caps locks being like, this dumb bitch. So
Well, how can she say that if Angela was eliminated?
well, no,
If there
she's
were
saying
still
if
points to
Angela
be
wasn't
awarded,
eliminated and they gave her the 2 points, then like whatever happened after, she's saying she still would have ended up with more points than Angela. I am not defending, I'm just stating what Sarah Lucina said. I'm not saying I even believe it. I don't know, because clearly we have no idea what happened with these points. It was like, whose line is it anyway over on this show?
right.
The points didn't matter.
I'm
But
arguing
I'm
with
letting you
Sarah
know she
Lucina.
said this on the official challenge podcast, which can I take right now to pick a bone with this podcast? I love Devon as a personality. I love Devin as a personality. I think Devin should be hosting every single reunion that ever happens. She is amazing. However, it was so incredibly frustrating that you have 2 former challenge contestants on this show or hosting this podcast acting like they were never ever fucked over by production shenanigans, that no production shenanigans. They took everything that happened on the show as fact, and it was like, this is so incredibly frustrating, because it also allowed Sarah to not tell the truth, or I don't know if she was lying, but she at least like neglected to tell the truth. I won't say that she was lying. And it's just like, this is frustrating to sit here and listen to, because it'd be one thing if it's like us interviewing Sarah Lucina. We weren't there. We don't know. We've never been on the challenge. We sit here with our glasses of wine and criticize you. Like, that's what we do. But you are 2 people who've been on seasons of this show and know the fuckery that happens. And for you to act like, oh, like they were going in on Angela, especially Devin. Like, she quit, blah, blah. Like, listen, Devin, I get it. You said it a couple times. You're a 2-time final finisher. Politely fuck all the way off. Like, fuck all the way off. You weren't there. And she was like tweeting things like it was absolute fact. Like, I had people in my DMs sending me shit, and I'm like, bro, after listening to the podcast, it's just them taking what was shown as 100%. This is exactly what happened. There's no anything that happened to it. Like, put this in front of a jury, like it stands up in court type of thing. And that was incredibly frustrating to listen to today.
Understandable.
That makes
or yesterday. It was yesterday. It all blends together. It's just been 48 hours of anger since watching the finale.
The rage blends it all together.
That infuriates me, and I'm arguing with Sarah Lucina via you because you brought it up, Kari.
All right. Let me do my best Sarah Lucina. I got buy a MAGA hat. Hold on, are my eyes open enough?
Do your the little smirk.
I don't know. Me and Ben are best friends. Stop. Okay, is that good?
Okay. So you saying that she said that if points continued, that she still would have beat Angela?
Yes.
So were there points awarded after?
She didn't say. Or if she said,
I'm confused as to why she would say that. If Angela's not there and there's still points to be awarded, how would she know that she would beat Angela on all these things?
She said she still would have won.
She's a psychopath. I never want to see her again in my entire life. I don't claim her as an Iowan. She can fuck all the way off. She did not win. She was given money. And I cannot wait till we get to this next part, because this is peak, like, mess right here.
Mess.
All right. Do we have anything else we need to say about Angela being eliminated?
Okay, here's one thing. I guess there's like been like these people going on interviews, doing podcasts, like posting things about the show on social media, talking about the experience, yada yada yada. I went to Angela's Instagram today, and she's just like posting pictures like in like Bali or something.
Yeah,
and I just love that she's like that was a thing that I did months ago, and now I'm in Bali like with elephants, and I love that for her. Angela, she's like on Twitter or like on Instagram.
I want to get her on this podcast so bad. Like, if I write a very nicely worded email to whoever her like agent is,
I don't know
like,
that
listen,
she does a lot of press.
I don't think
that's
she
the
does.
thing. That's why I want her on here, because like we're press like asterisk. Like, listen, I'm pro Angela 100%.
Press
I never
adjacent.
watched you on Big Brother, so I have nothing to say about that shit. I just want to talk to you about how you got fucked over. Like, and you can say whatever you want. I'm gonna say nothing critical of you. Come on, Angela.
I feel like one day she'll do like one single like communication about it and then be done, and she'll be like, yeah, that was a thing that I did, and we'll probably never see her again on the challenge. I'm sure they'll want her back, and she'll be like, I'm good, because
Yep.
she knows that she, like, come on, she was the star of the season, and
Oh yeah,
she would have been an easy leap to the challenge, a mainstay. She could have been a regular. She would have been a dominant like character. I'm really
What's her
sad that
last
this is
name?
the
I'm
way it
looking
ended,
her up on
because it could have
Instagram.
been such a different story. And
Yeah,
they,
Lemons. Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
Okay.
right, I'm sure they could. Right, they could have brought Tyler on. It could have been a whole thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it would have been a whole like movement for them. It would, I don't know. I just think they really, really screwed her over for no apparent reason, because they also seemed to love her.
Well,
Like,
that's
they
what I don't
showed her enough
understand.
on the
TJ's like a
episodes,
stan
like,
of her.
yeah, and she's great. And like, I don't know. I just think that there was such a missed opportunity. Like, this just like, they just really dropped the ball, I think, with her. Like, she really was a star this season, and I love that she's like, not pretend that she wasn't on it, but like, I was expecting, I guess, some like a finale picture, like, check out the final tonight, but she's just like, I'm posting pictures of me on an elephant, and I just love that.
She's above it. I don't disagree. We should all be above it. That's why I quit this show.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can talk about that, I guess, after we talk about everything, and just of like, what are the lasting implications of the Challenge USA, because there's definitely going to be some, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are, where we think we're at, like, actually, I think I can describe my emotions of this, like, last hour of the show in one of two ways. Where, Tito, I saw you share the classic, like, horse well drawn, then it ends up being like the 5-year-old drawing. But here's how I feel about it. My anger felt like either, that game on The Price is Right where you have the mountain climb, the yodeler climbing up the mountain, and you have to make it stop before it falls off. Like, I was the anger increasing, and I'm like waiting for the challenge to like hit the button and be like, this will be your peak anger, but really it just brought me all the way to the top, and my yodeler fell off. Or it was kind of like one of the challenge finales where you think you're getting to, like, you've done the hard part, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, climb up this mountain in the snow, rain, and do a puzzle that you don't know the rules to, and it continues to get worse and worse. Like, my anger kind of mirrored the like difficulty of this challenge, if you will. Like, this challenge finale is just like, oh, we just keep increasing here, because we get to this individual part. Great. They have to, I can't remember if they had to do anything besides run to the first puzzle. Was there anything before that hexagon puzzle?
I don't think so.
I think it was,
I don't
yeah,
think
just
so either.
there.
So,
which was like a race, and then from here on out it was solo, and the points didn't matter anyway. So why didn't we let Desi run it solo? Why didn't we let Desi pair up with a woman? Why didn't we let any of this happen?
Solo final. I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense.
To it.
Apparently there was a ton of frustration at this part, because Danny was threatening to quit before this individual part, because he had rolled his ankle the day before, and he's like, I can't do anymore. Dom was not giving clothing the right size, so apparently the chafing that he experienced was like very bad. And Danny was not given a pair of boots. They apparently could not find a pair of winter boots in size 12 in all of like the country, and so he had to do all of that in sneakers. Everybody else had boots. Danny did not have a pair of boots.
That's bullshit. That is such bullshit.
This show is so embarrassing.
God, it's like a backyard fucking production.
This
is
no,
crazy.
We've seen like backyard productions be better than this at this point.
Seriously.
Like,
well, this makes like Big Brother and like Survivor like seem so, I mean, I guess compared to this, so put together. Like, there's like all these jokes in like Big Brother, right, where like Helen was pushed and like it was rigged for like this person to win, and like we joke about it, and like maybe there's something to it. Who knows? Probably not. But like, this is just like that would never fly on like
Right.
if you like the Big Brother or Survivor. They'd be like, oh, like they would find a solution to make things equitable because like there'd be a riot. Like the fact that there isn't like a riot about this, like maybe there is. Are we? Is that us? Are we the ones rioting?
I know. Should we go? Should we go to the riot? Like, should we go to the streets? Should we take it
Like
to the
it's just
streets, you
it's so
guys?
silly. I just don't
Twitter
get it.
was my street. Like that was
Yeah,
I
Kari
was
took it to the
rioting
Twitter
on
streets.
Twitter. Yeah, so we had a whole bunch of shit that we didn't see that like impeded this second part, but they get going, they run, and the first thing they get to is a hexagon puzzle. And Tyson finishes his first. Like he is well ahead of everybody. And after the hexagon puzzle, they get to a Sudoku. We're just told it's a Sudoku. We are not there. You know how a lot of times you like run up to the sign, and it happened earlier. I remember specifically Danny reading the rules, like someone reading the rules out loud, and that tends to be part of production saying like you cannot start your puzzle or whatever until you read the rules. You're gonna notice that no one read the rules for the Sudoku because
I have the rules in front of me. Can I read them?
For a Sudoku or what was on the
picture
challenge?
of what was on the screen.
Yeah, please read them.
Final race. You must arrange all of the provided numbers correctly to complete the pattern before you can continue to the finish.
So we're not even told that it's a Sudoku.
No. No, that's the whole sign.
So if you don't know what a Sudoku is, there's no way you would even know how to start this.
So
guess who doesn't know what a Sudoku is? Me. I would see that and be like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, I don't know what this is. What am I supposed to do here? I have no idea. I have no idea.
Complete the pattern.
Complete the pattern.
But what's the, I mean, like, it was just numbers in a.
Well, yeah,
it was huge. It was a huge. Like, there's smaller
9 by
Sudokus
9.
than this. Aren't there smaller ones? Like 6
there
or 6?
There are, but like your typical Sudoku is
a
9 by 9 because you have 9 3 by 3 boxes, and you have to get 1 through 9 in every row, 1 through 9 in every column, and 1 through 9 in every box.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
I do these for fun. But I was telling my roommate, because like my roommate's upstairs watching his stuff, and I'm like going upstairs at commercials, like getting a drink or whatever, and I'm like, Brett, they put Angela and Alyssa against each other. Or like, Brett, you should see the bullshit that's going on. Then afterwards I like debriefed him on everything. I'm just like up there yelling to him. But I was saying to Brett, like when I do Sudokus, and I think I'm pretty good at Sudokus, I still like write little numbers in the boxes and then like erase it when another one is used. So like you didn't even have that option. Add on the fact that like it is snowing and raining. Like where are their gloves?
Where are their gloves? Where are their gloves?
They're with Danny's boots.
Unbelievable. I mean, they were like shiver. Like yeah, this was fucked up.
Yeah, and like, there's definitely something too, right? Where like this was not meant to be like game ending puzzle here. Like this was not like the intention of like, oh like yeah, they're gonna get to this and they're all gonna fail. And no, like this was supposed to be just another checkpoint, breeze on by it, whatever it is. But like if 3 people are dropping out at this portion, 3 like strong competitors, like
oh yeah,
what are you doing? Like that should not happen. Like this is a competition show where we want to see people competing and doing things, and you're providing like a challenge that 3 people are opting out of because they're physically not able to move forward. Like, but like again, solvable. Like, why are they not better equipped with clothing? Why are they freezing? Like,
why are they not provided the rules? Because at least
rules.
if they're given,
my God, that's
like to just assume that you walk up to a puzzle and listen, like as someone who does Sudoku, if it doesn't say the word Sudoku there, then it could be a different type of puzzle. What pattern? Were you supposed to be analyzing what's there and looking for a pattern that is like not necessarily, I guess, well, I shouldn't say not necessarily, is different than what you do in a Sudoku? To either not say get 1 through 9 in every way, or that this is a Sudoku. Like there's very little context clues or rules in what's happening.
Right. But then that's what happens when you have a situation like that, then you get exactly what happens to Tyson, who completed it incorrectly, but he doesn't know what the rules are. So how are you going to find your mistake when you don't even know what you're doing? Like, you don't even know how to work backwards to fix what you did because you don't know the rules of what you're doing. So it's like, I saw somebody on Reddit posted his Sudoku board or whatever, and like half of it was right. And they circled where he made the mistake, and they were like, he would have never known that this is the point where he made the mistake because he didn't know what he was doing. Like, he was doing it right, but if you, it's really hard to work backwards if you just like don't know what the end goal is.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing is too, I think this sort of puzzle is good for like a challenge to like be completed, like to be something that like if you know Sudoku, you could really kill this, and like that's like an advantage. But if you don't know Sudoku, it's something that you can learn quickly and like figure out and like know where your mistakes are. You know, like if you know like there has to be 1 through 9 in this grid of 9,
Sure.
then you know like, oh, that one of these is wrong. Like you know those rules and you can move forward and you can kind of figure it out and something you can work through. But if you're given absolutely no context, like there's no way you could be able to complete it. And
Right.
again, you just give them the rules.
I want to throw something in here. So Danny says in his interview that he thought it was really weird because before the final started, production in one of his interviews, like confessional interviews or whatever, is like, hey, so like what type of puzzles would you like to see in the final? Like which ones would you do the best on? Do you know what he said?
Sudoku.
And a slide puzzle.
Yo.
Listen, I'm pumped Danny won. You know what I mean? Like I'm not mad Danny
like
won. However, that's shady as fuck.
We have one winner of this challenge, and it's Danny.
No, Kiki and Danny.
I feel like Kiki, don't forget about Kiki, our champion. I feel like a slide puzzle, like that's common. Like they do that regularly. I don't know.
When was the last time you've seen a slide puzzle in the challenge?
I haven't really seen, well, other than like the night before.
Yeah, besides the night before.
Besides that, I don't remember.
I feel like they do them. Am I not misremembering?
I think I don't really think so.
I guess like maybe it's like for sure a thing in Survivor, I guess. But like maybe I'm just attributing that.
Yeah,
to
Survivor for sure. They have slide puzzles like out the ass. But I feel like on the challenge, they do a lot of like tangrams and stuff. Like I don't feel like they do a lot of
tangrams.
Slide puzzles really.
Yeah. So I just
want
to put that out
there. What was the puzzle they did when Tyson and Cachet were partners? Was that a slide puzzle?
That was a tangram.
I think it was a tangram.
Right? Oh,
yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, because it was the pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm okay. Ignore me. I'm making things up.
Oh, it's okay.
So yeah, just want to let you guys know that Danny said that himself today, or not today, but when he did the challenge podcast. But what we don't really see is like by the time that Tyson, he says he was forced to quit on Twitter. Yeah. Basically, like production was like, no, you're done. You can't keep doing it. They forced Justine, Dom, and Tyson to quit. However, Justine and Dom had no idea what a Sudoku was. Like less than Tyson did. And Danny had already been like gone for 20, 30 minutes towards what was likely the end of the race is what Tyson thought. He was like, I kind of at that point was just like, fine. If this is
well, they know that it says this thing says final race on it. So like they know after this is going to be the end.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like at that point, right, the only incentive is like if I finish, I get to keep what's in my bank right now.
Yeah.
Which like for like a lot of these people, like they had like what between $10,000 and $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
They get paid more than that just to appear on the show. Like they wipe their asses with $11,000.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not an incentive to like, you know,
lose your fingers
for them at least. For me, I'd be like, "Yep, I'm finishing. I'll be there. Give me my $8,000, whatever it is."
Yeah.
But like for that, like Tyson specifically, I think has always been like, "This was only for $500,000. Like this is what I wasted my time with."
Well, he said that especially when he found out more info that we'll talk about as we get to the end of this. But so those three quit. Kayla, she was like the first woman to the hexagon puzzle, and it took her
she's
a
like,
long
I have this app
time.
on my phone.
Yeah, she said that. I'm like, oh god, Kayla, they've shown you making like one too many mistakes to be a challenge fan here.
But I love this part because when Kayla like fails and Justine like takes off before her, I was like, oh wait, are we about to see Justine win this? Like I was like wait, I could live with this. Like a Justine win, I would have been very happy with.
Oh same. Absolutely. So Kayla gets up to the Sudoku. We don't see much of her like attempting it, but she ends
She's
up
like
being
sitting on the
forced to quit.
ground.
Yeah, she has to quit as well. I don't know if she was forced to quit, but she quit.
Didn't she get hypothermia or something like that?
I think everyone did. Sarah Lucina was saying that when she was, I think it was the walk between the hexagon puzzle and the Sudoku, or maybe it was the walk after the Sudoku. She said that like she saw something that looked like a Jeep headlight.
Yeah, I think
And
it was Kayla in an ambulance or something. I could be totally making that up. I heard it somewhere. I don't know where I heard it from, but I'm
no,
pretty sure Kayla got hypothermia.
well, I don't think it was. That's what she saw. It ended up just being like a stump. What she thought she
Oh,
was
so she
seeing.
was like blacking
She was
out.
hallucinating.
was
Yeah, which is a
hallucinating.
sign of hypothermia.
No, hallucinating is a sign.
That's crazy.
Hallucinating is a sign.
What did
Period.
you say?
Hallucinating is a sign of hypothermia. Like it's a symptom of hypothermia. So Sarah Lucina was
You
like
guys, this is okay. What y'all just said, I think I hallucinated. Like, I
you
think
were
I
do
missed.
you have hypothermia?
I think it was like 30
Do we
seconds.
need to rescue your cat? I don't live that far from you. Message
there was,
me
like-
your address so I can
I'll send
save
it.
the
I'll send it
cat.
after this. And there's like 30 seconds where I like blinked because what you said about hypothermia and hallucinations, I confused. But sorry, we'll move on. But I wanted to say about, do you remember in like past finals when people are like so dehydrated and like passing out, they'll like give them fluids, right?
Yeah,
Like
Sure,
gotten,
yeah, they put them
they've
like in an
given them
ambulance.
fluids and they're like, okay, like now you're good, you can continue.
Yeah,
Why
Georgia
is there
did
not
that.
like a heat tent anywhere for like, hey, like you have to complete this. If you're too cold, go into this heat tent for 20 minutes and come back and like, why are they not providing these like
They couldn't even
things-
provide Danny the right shoes.
Gloves,
Yeah, why don't they just say like,
Why-
here's a pair of gloves?
or like it was just like sleeting rain? Like they know where they are in the country. They know this weather. They should have accounted for it at least, right? So, like,
Right.
this is dangerous.
Give me a
so people
second.
can move on in. Like, why are they not providing some sort of shelter? That would have been. I would have loved that too. Like, oh, like this was so grueling that we had to step away for 20 minutes into the heat tent to be able
Right.
to like warm up and come back.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. Like they should have some kind of, maybe it's not like even emergency, but like some kind of like repository of things, knowing you're exactly right, the climate and like the situation that they're bringing these people into, like maybe have an inch of foresight to say like, hey, this might be dangerous. We should probably
Right.
make sure that like everyone's going to be safe here.
Right. And like along with that, like you have a whole production crew out there filming them, or you would think like in that regard. Like, so
Right.
they also need to have some sort of like protection of this. Like, I get it, it's a challenge, they have to endure what it is, but like people cannot be hallucinating and have hypothermia on your challenge without any like ability to better themselves. Because what is then Kayla supposed to do? Like, she's then forced medically and able to like move forward when like if she had the opportunity, like, let me just warm up a little bit and I'll come back to it. Like, there needs to be that sort of thing, especially because in the hot climates, they do give them fluids. They do allow them to like take a rest and move forward.
Wouldn't the shady shit you'd rather not see be them protecting the health and safety of the players versus them changing the rules in the middle of a challenge? You know what I mean? Like, I would rather come to find out post the episode airing, like, oh, they actually had like heat tents along the way for us that we could spend like 20 minutes in and then keep going, that they didn't air that on TV versus like, oh, we actually changed the rules and only one team finished, but we're gonna let everybody else play except for Angela. Like, wouldn't you rather find that out?
Yes, 100%. Because that I could get behind. It's like, okay, like they are a production, like they do have like to abide by certain things, like, and they're not going to show us those things because it doesn't make great television. So I would have been fine with that. But just this way, it makes it seem again so raggedy. It's for them to force these people to quit when they, should have been provided other resources to be able to move. I don't know. I don't run these things, so what do I know?
I know.
All right, we have 10 minutes left of Katie, so let's make sure
I was actually
that
just putting a message. I might have to go in like 5-ish, but we'll play it by ear.
Okay, cool. So, Sarah Lucina is still back at this hexagon puzzle for a while. We don't see if she finishes or not, and we come to find out from Tyson, because production told Tyson, Sarah was allowed to time out of the hexagon puzzle and continue on to the Sudoku. So Sarah, she hasn't said this in any of her fucking interviews.
Of course she wouldn't.
Didn't actually finish the hexagon puzzle. They allowed her onto the Sudoku. We didn't see, did we, if she finished the Sudoku puzzle or not?
We sure didn't.
That's what I thought. So we don't see that. And like, I screenshot something from Tyson's Entertainment Weekly article interview where he's like, we know she didn't finish this. We aren't sure if she finished the Sudoku. So we have one winner. It was Danny.
Yeah,
Wow, she's such a clown.
Full on clown. Valedictorian of Clown University. Sarah Lucina.
That's so embarrassing. And like, you know what? I'm done.
I just feel like I personally have said all I can. Matt, my partner, wants me to do the impression I do of Sarah sometimes, and I just like don't even know what I can bring out of me right now to like pretend to be her, other than being like, I don't even know like what I could say to convey what a loser she is in my impression of her voice. I don't know.
I want to hear it so bad.
I'll try and you guys keep going. I'll try and muster something.
Well, I mean, really, that's where it ends, where Sarah gets up to the top of the mountain and she's confused because she sees Danny and she's like, oh, where's everyone else?
Yeah,
And
guess
like,
what, bitch? We're confused too.
It's just us. So we have our winners of the Challenge USA, winners asterisk of the Challenge USA, Danny and Sarah. So I apologize. I keep looking back because when Nitro got up, his leg keep like cutting out from underneath him, like slipping underneath him. But I think his leg was asleep, and so that's why. So I keep like looking to see. That's why I left him like, oh my god, my dog's gonna be a tripod. So
Oh my god.
Not that there's anything wrong with tripod dogs.
No,
it's just
not.
my dog would not handle it well. He barely functions with 4 legs. I cannot have him lose one. So I got very scared, and that's why I left mid-sentence. Anyway, yeah, so we leave it at that. We have covered, I think, every piece of like tomfuckery that happened in this. And something I want to ask, which is, I think we've kind of more or less implied it. Do we think there's going to be a season 2 of the Challenge USA?
No, I don't think so.
No way.
I can't imagine.
They're going to be able to cast it.
I think they're gonna.
Yeah,
they're gonna
that's exactly it.
They're gonna stick to moving whoever wants to do it, just taking them onto the challenge. They just announced the cast for Challenge 38, and we get like some other CBS people, like Big Brother people. So like, I think they're just gonna keep doing that because no one's gonna anyone who like is like serious about their like reality TV stardom or whatever is not gonna do this stupid ass show knowing the way it ended. Like, I think that the people we got on this CBS challenge are like maybe not necessarily the people we would be getting on the MTV's The Challenge, which is why they were on the CBS challenge. And so anyone like we're not going to see Tyson doing this again. Like, there's no way.
No, he said never say never, but this didn't do anything for him. And something we've like kind of also said. The whole season, everybody thought the winner was getting $500,000, and it wasn't until the last day they told them that the 2 winners would be splitting the $500,000. And Tyson said something to one of the production members of like, "Listen, like what the fuck's that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we knew that we wouldn't get you guys if it was only for $250,000."
Yeah, like they duped them into coming onto the show thinking they would get $500,000 if they won, and actually they're splitting it. That's crazy to me.
But I feel like that's very true. Right, I feel like some of these people would not have even considered.
Totally,
going.
I don't think any of them would have.
This like casting call wasn't this like huge casting call. Like,
I think it was
tons
huge.
of reality stars that like said no.
Yeah,
and then we got who we got. I'm sure like some like fuzziness and mess was going on with all that too. But like now that we know like what actually happened, now the people that they would really want to get, now they're for sure not doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I feel like they can get rid of this kind of like fuckery with the MTV challenge because they pull from the same pool of people, and this is like their job. Like they don't do anything else other than go on the challenge. The people that are on the Challenge USA are like actual functioning members of society who have been on a reality show before. It's not their career. They're not career reality stars. So they don't, and they're used to definitely like higher production value than this. So like, they're not going to get them back. I think, in the beginning, people were like, oh, this actually looks really fun. And like, I saw Janelle from Big Brother tweeting like, wish I would have done it. This seems really fun. Like, they're not going to do that shit now after hearing all of this mess.
Absolutely.
And Tyson said like, this would have never happened on Survivor. Survivor is like the peak. He's realized like the peak of reality TV production.
Right.
And that, like 3 or 4 or people who have been fired and that the show needs a Jeff Probst, and he wasn't taking a shot at TJ. He's like, "This isn't TJ's fault," but Jeff Probst not only is a good host, but he also, like, is very involved in it and, like,
Very.
cares about the well-being of the show and, like, things that are happening. He's like, "That these people want to aspire to be on Survivor, working for production there, and, like, this was just, like, little league in comparison."
Yep.
All right. I think we got to wrap this up because
Sorry, guys.
Katie has a very important thing to attend to. So, Katie, do you want me to do your podcast for you? Like,
No, I can run through it really quickly.
Okay,
If you want to
Katie-
give me a follow, I am on Twitter at RealSlimKatie. I'm
That's
on
me.
Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore at the end. And you can hear me talking about House of the Dragon, Big Brother, The Challenge, well, not anymore, and Real Housewives here on Silent Podcast. Did I say Big Brother? Yeah, here on Silent Podcast. Some of those are with Kari, some of those are not. But thank you guys. This has been a fun season, other than like this shit show. But like I said, I'm definitely not watching season 38 because like the cast sucks and the show sucks. And I mean, you'll probably see me back here in a month when it starts. But I'm talking a big game right now that I'm quitting. We'll see.
All right, Angela, just quit on this. Shovel 3
Yeah.
things of dirt and then go sleep in a tent. Fine. Tito, where are you at? What are you doing?
I've decided that I'm gonna time out and just move on. So go ahead, Gary. No, I'm just kidding. You can. I'm not doing a whole lot, but you can catch me on Twitter at Pachichis, talking nonsense. I'm a little bit more involved now. I feel like in my Twitter game with some of these reality shows. I was having a good time on Twitter on Wednesday night, shit talking this finale. Also, today's Mexican Independence Day.
Yes.
We're celebrating. I don't know if you probably can't hear it, but there's like been fireworks and people honking outside my
I heard it
window.
all
It's
last night.
fun. So yeah, shout out to the Mexicans.
Yes, shout out.
And I'm KGD26 on anywhere you need to follow me. Wrapping this season up, we've got another season of the challenge starting in a month. That despite all of the shit that this episode put me through, I'll be back. And but until then, I'll only be there or on Silent Podcast once a week with Katie doing Real Housewives stuff. So listen to us there. But otherwise, we'll cut this short. You know where to listen to us. You should have watched us on YouTube. If you didn't, you missed some shit. But rate us 5 stars, subscribe, leave us a review, all the good things. We appreciate you and thank you for listening. We will catch you next time. Bye.